What if I told you Manchester United didn't just beat City, but they're also bullying a very composed Guardiola side? And what if the scariest part isn't the scoreline, it's how calm they look doing it? Because this doesn't look like a lucky day. This looks like a pattern, kind of a system, and a version of United we haven't seen in months. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how Michael Carrick has quietly flipped the switch, why City look rattled, why United look inevitable, and why the rest of the league should be very, very worried if this is the new normal. Yeah, United might actually be scary again. But I know what you're thinking. Relax, it's one game. It's just a new manager bounce. City had an off day. United always start with a roar, then crumble by February. I get it, the skepticism is earned. But look closer. This isn't about the goals, it's about what United are doing without the ball. Yes, we know playing City always felt like surviving a hurricane, but today it felt like United were the weather. They didn't just beat Pep, they suffocated him. And don't forget, Pep needed this match. City didn't come here to experiment, they came to push viciously for the title. Pep unleashed both Semenyo and Doku on United, hoping for a complete demolition. Instead, they ran into a trap they didn't see coming. This wasn't a Man City collapse, this was a United masterclass. So how did Carrick pull this off? How do you stop a team that just added Antoine Semenyo to an already illegal frontline? Carrick didn't try to out-Pep Pep. He didn't chase shadows. Instead, he went back to the United way, a mid-block so disciplined it made Rodri look ordinary. While Doku and Semenyo waited for space on the wings, Carrick kept his fullbacks, Dalot and Shaw, on a leash. They didn't overlap, they didn't gamble, they stayed home, forcing City's wingers into crowded central lanes where Casemiro and Mainu were waiting like scavengers. But the real genius wasn't just defending, it was the trigger. The counter-press. The moment City's young backline made a mistake, United exploded. Look at the first goal. One misplaced pass from Rico Lewis, and in 3 seconds, Bruno finds Mbeumo. No wasted touches, no sideways passing, just vertical, violent efficiency. Carrick didn't give Pep a game of chess, he gave him a street fight in a suit. But there's something deeper happening here, something tactical analysis can't quite capture. It's the body language. For a decade, United managers have looked stressed. They looked like they were fighting a fire with a garden hose. Carrick, he looks like he owns the place. He isn't just coaching, he's restoring the DNA, that quiet, arrogant confidence that used to define Old Trafford. He stopped the constant tinkering. He simplified the roles. He's told these players that at Manchester United, you don't hope for a result, you demand it. You could see it in the eyes of the players. They weren't panicking when City had the ball. They were waiting. They weren't playing for a manager's philosophy. They were playing for the badge again. And if you want to see exactly what that Carrick confidence looks like in real time, you only need to look at the second goal. Because while Pep was screaming at his defense to wake up, United were already plotting the kill. It wasn't a counterattack, it was an execution. Wait until you see how Patrick Dorgu didn't just score, he humiliated them. The clock hit 75 minutes. A frustrated Pep Guardiola is pacing. United are sitting in that disciplined mid-block, waiting for the one crack in City's armor. Most teams at 1-0 against City start to shake. They drop deep and pray to the whistle. Not Carrick's United. Watch the 75th minute. It starts with Rico Lewis trying to force a ponderous City move through the middle. But Carrick's trap is set. Lewis loses the ball, panics, and hauls down Dorgu to stop the break. He gets a yellow, but the psychological damage is already done. Michael Carrick immediately pulls the trigger, bringing on Matheus Cunha for the goal scorer Mbeumo. It's a move of pure intent. Just 60 seconds later, Cunha is isolated against City's substitute Nico O'Reilly on the flank. Cunha doesn't just beat him, he bypasses him with a burst of pace that leaves the City defense scrambled. He whips a low, devastating cross towards the back post. And there he is, Patrick Dorgu. While Rico Lewis is caught napping at the back post, Dorgu gambles. He nips in, connects with the cross, and watches as the ball clips the inside of the post and nestles into the net. 2-0, game over. But Carrick wasn't done. Here's the most terrifying part for Pep Guardiola. It should have been 3. In the dying minutes, Michael Carrick made another move that felt like a masterclass. He brought on Mason Mount. Now we've seen Mount struggle in a United shirt for a long time, often looking like a player without a position. But under Carrick, he looked like a tactical weapon. Carrick didn't just sub him on, he deployed him to exploit the massive gaps City left while they were chasing ghosts. Mount found the back of the net, and for a few seconds, Old Trafford was witnessing a historic 3-0 demolition. VAR eventually stepped in to chalk it off for a marginal offside, but the message had already been sent. United weren't just hanging on for a result, they were hunting for more. That's the Carrick genius. He didn't park the bus to protect a lead, he refreshed the engine to extend it. If that goal stands, we're not talking about a close derby, we're talking about a total humiliation. Pep didn't just lose the points today, he lost the tactical battle, the physical battle, and very nearly his dignity. United are no longer a team that wins by accident, they are a team that wins by design. So why did Pep's expensive new experiment look so toothless? On paper, a front line of Antoine, Semenyo, Erling Haaland, and Jeremy Doku is a cheat code. It's raw power, terrifying pace, and clinical finishing. But today, they didn't look like a team. They looked like three strangers. Semenyo was brought in to provide that physical edge, but in his Premier League debut for City, he found himself isolated. Carrick instructed Shaw and Dalot to stay deep, effectively doubling up on the wings. Semenyo was forced to cut inside into a no-man's land where Casemiro and Mainu were waiting to pick his pocket. Without the usual service from Foden and Bernardo, who were smothered by United's compact midfield, Haaland became a passenger. He had the fewest touches of any player on the pitch. When the Viking isn't being fed, he isn't scary. He's just a target man with nothing to target. Doku tried to spark something, but he was lured into a trap. Carrick let him have the ball in deep areas, but the moment he entered the final third, the space vanished. City's attack was wide, but shallow. They had the ball, but United had the control. Pep tried to overpower United with elite individuals. Carrick responded with a cohesive unit. In the end, the system beat the stars. Pep didn't just lose the game today, he might have lost the title race. Yeah, United might actually be scary again. Because for the first time in a long time, the manager isn't the story, the football is. Carrick has silenced the noise, stopped the bleeding, and just handed Pep Guardiola one of his most humbling tactical defeats. But the real test is coming. Next up, Arsenal, the league leaders. If Carrick does this to Arteta, we're not just talking about a good start, we're talking about a revolution. United are back, and they're not coming for a top 4 finish, they're coming for everything. Is Carrick the permanent answer, or is this just a beautiful dream? Get in the comments and let me know. Thanks for watching, I'll see you on the next one.
If this breakdown helped you see the game differently, do us a huge favor, hit that like button and subscribe. We're a new channel fighting to bring you the deepest tactical analysis in the game, and every sub helps us go head-to-head with the Giants. Thanks for backing the journey. More Carrick Air masterclasses are on the way.